Hopefully you fasten your seatbelts for the next 2 hours.
Right.
That's nonsense, Clint. I'm not buying it. I'm sorry.
I don't care what you buy.
That's nonsense.
My feeling.
You're not just buying a racetrack. You're buying a piece of American racing history right there. I mean, that's huge. The history behind the track, just mind-boggling.
You hear a lot of rumors in the rumor mill. I'll just keep tuning in to you guys to hear the truth when we come down to it. So
don't do that. I've already had one dose of tin hat syndrome today. I don't need a second one.
Stuart Friesen said to Brett, he says, "Why don't you bring us to more places like this?" And Brett goes, "There isn't any other place like this."
Race fans, it's time to throw it up on the cushion and get dirty. Coming to you live from the Finger Lakes and Southern Tier, it's time for Turn 5 Live. Now your hosts of Turn 5 Live, Steve Ovens, Clint Miller, and Brad Ovens.
Welcome aboard, race fans. It's a big week coming up this week, opening week at Outlaw Speedway, and we welcome you to this week's edition of Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network, Tuesday, April 19th, we'll give it. Steve Ovens, Clint Miller joining you on the program here tonight. Got a big lineup for you, as hopefully you've come to expect no less from us here on Turn 5 Live. 7:45 tonight, we're going to be talking to Tyler Siri, owner, promoter of the Outlaw Speedway. Going to give us a little bit of a preview of what we're going to see on Friday night. Of course, big night for him and the whole crew there at Outlaw is their grand opening since Tyler took over ownership of the Speedway. And going to be a big night out there. Great story from Saturday night. And there was a few of those from Woodhall Raceway. Tim Guild going to join us at 8:15 tonight. A veteran of our armed services, Clint, who picked up a big win on Saturday night in a big battle with Brandon Butler in what was a fabulous race. So looking forward to talking to Tim here later on in the program. Then at 8:45 tonight, Ricky Newton going to join us. Winner of the Grit Series Cabin Fever 2 event out at Canandaigua Motorsports Park. And I know Clint was out at Canandaigua this weekend. Clint, did you take in both shows this weekend?
No, I just took in Saturday. Saturday was the Grit show. Friday wasn't the Grit show, and that's when Ricky won, was Friday night.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Adam Pearson won Saturday night, and I only remember that for sure because he drove 7 hours to get down there to run.
Yeah.
He came towed down from Vermont.
Not often you see a driver from Vermont make a trip down to Central New York and take a big win like that. No,
and he was real excited. Victory Lane, he said he wasn't expecting to win, but chips kind of fell in his lap early in the going, and he was able to run away and hide.
What's interesting, Clint, is Pearson was not the only Vermont-based driver to come to New York and steal a win this weekend.
No.
There was a Tobias Slingshot driver that won a feature event on Saturday at 5 Mile Point, also a native of Vermont. So how about that? 2 Vermont drivers coming down and stealing wins out of the mouths of New Yorkers.
Yeah, take that, New Yorkers. These guys came down and kicked your butt. You better pick your game up.
So we got a lot of good stuff to talk about here tonight. Of course, Clint, I think the story that has really kind of rocked the dirt world here the last couple of days, of course, the unfortunate accident that took place over at Canandaigua on Friday night. And I listened to an interview this afternoon with Darryl Ruggles that Doug Elkins did, www.dougsdirtdiary.com. Go over and check that out. What an interview with Darryl Ruggles. Feeling pretty bad about everything that happened on Friday night. And, at this point, Darryl's so down about the whole deal that he's considering not getting back in the driver's seat. And that was the first that I had heard of that, and I hope that Darrell's able to work through this. I mean, we posted the video on the Turn 5 Live Facebook page today, and Clint, I want to get your reaction to that. I'm sure you've seen the video, but, I don't know what else Darrell could have done. It was a simple mistake. It was, he just barely clipped that tire, and when he did, it just folded the front end, and at that point, him and Charlie were both going for a ride. There was nothing they could do. Just an accident.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. When something like that happens, especially at the speeds that those guys are going, when his front end folded up, like you said, they were just along for the ride. That's go over to our Turn 5 page. That's kind of the question of the night is what people think about the implement tires, and it's just real bad. And I think that Charlie Donk is a hell of a guy, and one of the nicest racers around. He's been doing it a long time, back in the small blocks and the big blocks at Canandaigua and Black Rock, and I just think that in a short period of time here, I almost believe that Charlie Donk will reach out to Darrell, and they'll talk about it, and Charlie will convince him that it's just an accident. Hey, stuff happens. Maybe he won't. I don't know, but I think that he's a stand-up guy, and if he can help, I think he will.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Darrell's just tore up over the whole deal, and I'll be honest with you, there's been a lot of ignorant comments and assumptions made, since that accident took place. And I know that Bob Miller put that video out today from Number 9 Video, to try and show people that, this was nothing intentional. This was not somebody driving in the corner hot and driving over top of somebody. I mean, these were two guys going for the win. I mean, it was early on in the event, but this was the battle for the lead. And
yeah.
Two of Canandaigua's best were going at it.
Yeah, and they were side by side for those 2 laps. I mean, they essentially you could say that they were racing for the win.
No, they were for sure. So obviously we're thinking about Charlie, hoping that he gets better soon. A whole host of injuries there for Charlie, including some fractures in his neck and in his back as well. He's got, I understand there was a pretty good amount of damage to the helmet, and, had some teeth that got knocked out in the whole situation, and, just a violent crash. I mean, those cars, even though they're 305 Sprints, Clint, they go so fast that, when you have a fast-moving object and it hits a wall that does not move, this is the kind of thing that's going to happen. And something that I pointed to today that I think needs to be looked at is, we saw this kind of accident when Kevin Swindell flipped at Knoxville, where the cage hit up against the wall. We've seen it now with Charlie Donk's accident too, and the cage, the frame, Clint, has been compromised and come down on top of the driver. And the name of the game in sprint cars is lightweight parts, make them as light and as safe as you can. But I think what we saw on Friday night was a chassis being put to the test, and in my opinion, I don't think it passed the test.
Well, I would say 85% of it didn't pass the test. I mean, Charlie was able to walk away, so you give a little bit of its due. But having said that, the problem I see with it, Steve, and I'm running through the sprint car chassis in my head right now, is in order to brace, it's difficult to brace that up because you only have so much room to get in and out of the car. So I don't know how you could change the bracing of the main cage for it not to collapse like that. I don't know. With a street stock like we saw with Gene Ballmer last year, you make a support on the outside of the cage to help on the upright so it doesn't collapse on you. With a sprint car, I don't know how you do that.
Right. No, that's just it. And, maybe in the next couple of weeks we can try and get somebody on the program with us to talk about that, because
And I think, Steve, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but what I think is that the big thing is finding a way maybe to keep the wings on the car.
Right.
If the wing's on the car, then it doesn't have a direct shot on the chassis itself. It's got that
may be
cushion.
true. That would be an interesting thing to look at for sure. So at this point, our thoughts, we're thinking about Charlie, hoping that he gets well soon. Still in the hospital at this point. Thinking about Darrell, I'll tell you, one family in racing that, the motorsports world is a lot better off with, and that's the Ruggles family. Darrell, Wendy, their daughter Alicia. I hate to see this all happening. I hate to see Darrell in the spot that he is, wanting to, potentially step away from the sport. I hope that doesn't happen, but, he's got to work through that process. And, the biggest thing at this point is for for him to know that all of us are here thinking about him and hoping that we see him at the track again real soon and behind the wheel even sooner yet.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right, Steve. That's perfect wording.
So we're going to step aside here, Clint. We're getting ready to talk to Tyler Siri with the Outlaw Spring Nationals on tap this weekend. A ton of work has gone on at Outlaw Speedway. They've transformed the place. Tyler's going to tell us all about it next. Here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What? No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm going to do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up.
See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time.
What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust, the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
Hi, race fans. This is Kelly Hebing, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Race fans, it's Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Steve Ovens, Clint Miller joining you on the program here tonight. Working on touching base with Tyler Siri here. But in the meantime, Clint, let's turn our attention over to this coming weekend. And that being Outlaw Speedway and the Outlaw Spring Nationals coming up here Friday night, April 22nd. 82 Main Street, Dundee, New York. And Clint, $3,000 to win for the modifieds for their opening special here. The first leg of the Insinger Performance Sunoco Race Fuel Challenge. The Lucas Oil Empire Super Sprints coming in, $2,000 to win, $250 to start there. The Grit Series will be on hand with a Hoosier and American Racer combined event. Boy, what a night it is going to be, and on opening night, no less.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't put many more specials on one card to start off your foray in track ownership.
Yeah, I guess so. It's going to be a monster show. We've got drivers that are being confirmed. I've got messages from Dean Reynolds this afternoon giving me some names of drivers that we expect to see on the sprint car side of things. And the latest I got was outsiders that are confirmed. Mark Smith from Mach 1 Chassis. No Panic, Davey Franek going to be in attendance. Larry Keller and Jared Zimbardi, who announced on Twitter this morning that he will be at Outlaw Speedway. And I'll tell you what, Clint, Jared Zimbardi, we expected that he would be there. He confirms it this morning. So the guys won the last 4 out of 10. I mean, how could you not go? I mean, if you were a betting man, how could you not go with Jared Zimbardi?
It's Zimbardi against the field in my book. It's just he's got that place figured out right now, and he's hotter than a pistol doing it. And I just, like you, I just don't see anybody coming in and beating him. I mean, you had some pretty big names in there for the outsiders coming in. Mark Smith just won a race down in Pennsylvania over the weekend, so it's and there's no slouch doing it down there. So I almost bet probably Robbie Stillwagon may come up, another guy that's tough up here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be real interesting to see some of the names that will be in attendance on Friday night because, yeah, you're right. I mean, there's guys like that. There's guys like, a George Suprick. There's guys like, you just mentioned him, Robbie Stillwagon, that, would not be a surprise at all to see them based on the way they've run in the past there at Outlaw Speedway. So that's going to be a lot of fun to see how this all shakes out. Modified drivers, let's turn to them for a second here. Matt Shepard, we're getting ready to put it on the website. Matt Shepard confirmed that he will be at the Outlaw Spring Nationals. And I'll tell you what, for the weekend that guy had, picking up a win at Canandaigua and Utica Rome, he's going to be tough to contend with. But let me throw another name in here that's going to be tough to contend with, and he's on the hotline with us. Tyler Siri joining us on Turn 5 Live. And Tyler, man, a couple days away here. I imagine you guys are in crunch mode here, getting ready for opening night.
Yeah, we are, man. Just got off the Dodger, actually, and hopped in the truck to head back to the shop. But, yeah, we've been working 7 days a week up there, trying to get things going. And, we basically are doing, 5 months of work in a month and a half's worth of time. So it's been a lot of work, a lot of hard work, but it's coming along great. People will be surprised when they show up on Friday.
That's the thing that I keep telling people too, Tyler, is they won't recognize the place when they get there. Was that one of the big goals for you guys? Is to just really give the place the facelift, the TLC that it's needed all these years?
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody loves racing there at the track, and the track puts on awesome racing, and the facility is great structure and layout, and it just needed to be updated and spruced up, and that's what we've been doing, and it's just it's coming out great. With the new clay on the track, that was great, and that held up awesome. The guys really loved it, and so that was great. And then with all the extra amenities that we're doing, and we're just going to keep making this thing bigger and better, and every week it's just going to be a work in progress. But I'll tell you, we put a hell of a dent in it so far.
I want to talk about practice night real quick, because I know from me being able to talk to you afterwards that, I think Clint had left by that point in the night. But I'll tell you, Clint, the smile on Tyler's face couldn't have been any bigger Friday night to see how that track turned out. So, Tyler, my question to you is, I know you guys were happy with how it held together, but that practice session had to be crucial for you guys to be able to get a night of cars digging on it and to see exactly what it would do before this big opening night.
Yeah, it was. It was really important for us. We didn't do anything to the track. We put all the clay in it, but we didn't dig it up or, we put water on it and worked a little bit, and but we didn't want to get too carried away because we didn't know what it was going to do. I'll tell you, it laid in there beautiful, and the surface was awesome. I was just happier than happy because it stayed down. We reshaped it a little bit after everybody left. We got a little section 1 and 2 there that we wanted to shape a little bit, and so we did that. We got some more of that to do as we're working racing on the track. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be an awesome surface come Friday. I know we got a little rain coming Thursday night, early Friday, and then we're talking maybe a shower around 10, 11 o'clock, and then after that it's going to be nice. So we'll cross our fingers, and hopefully it stays that way. And 64 degrees, and a little shower at 10, 11 o'clock, and then we'll be good. So the track will be awesome, I can tell you that. We've got all the equipment up to snuff and ready to go, and got extra people on hand for track prep. And, just everything we're doing to make sure that the surface needs to be the way it needs to be, and the facility, we're extra staffed in the place. We know it's important the first night out. We're going to have a few bugs, I'm sure, as new promoter and owner. But I feel I got great people in the right places. Hopefully it'll run off smooth.
As as a guy that's new to track ownership and promoting a place, has that been the biggest challenge? Is trying to make sure that you have as many pieces together as you think you need, because people are going to be coming in Friday night, and I know from talking to people, there's people coming Friday that haven't been to the Speedway in 10 years. I mean, that's got to put a lot of pressure on you guys.
Well, it does, because I want to make sure that it's up to my standards, you know what I mean? And that's why I've been working up there 7 days a week. We did take off one day Saturday to go race, but it's very important for me to make sure the place is what people want. And like I say, that place is big, and it needed a lot of work, and it takes time to do it. But we've gotten a heck of a start on it, and I'm real pleased on how things are going. And with me being in business, I started my business when I was 19 years old, so it helps out as far as me trying to run that track, because it's a business. You're running a business there, so that helps out a lot for me to put to keep people in the right places. that's very important, just like a business is. So, I feel very confident in my staff and the people that I've hired, and the track crew, to the PR like yourself, to Dick Starks and Tommy and just Steve Flag. I mean, I think we've got all the pieces of the puzzle where it needs to be, and so I think we're off to a great start. We're going to try our best to please the fans and the racers for sure.
Going to have a lot of great things happening on Friday night. We're getting ready to put some of those things up on the website as we speak. So outlawspeedwayllc.com is the place to find all the latest news and notes. Tyler, I appreciate you checking in with us. I know it's been a hellacious couple of weeks here for you guys, getting all these improvements done and getting ready. But anything that else you'd like to say to the fans that are thinking about coming out Friday night?
Yeah, I'd just love to have everybody come out and support us, and we're here to support you and the racer, and we hope you guys come out and check it out. You're going to be really happy with what we've done, and real happy with the surface and the drivers that we got coming. It should be a hell of a show in all the classes. The car counts look to be fantastic in all the divisions, and I think the fans will really love the opener with the Spring Nationals and with the whole schedule as a whole that we've got all year long is super aggressive, and sprint cars five times this year. All the spring, fall nationals, the fireworks, NASCAR night, Sunoco Challenge. I mean, it's just, I put together the best that I could do for a schedule for everybody so they can enjoy it, come out and support it, and we're excited to have people out there, and it's going to be a hell of a time all year long, I can tell you that.
No doubt about it, man. I appreciate the time. Looking forward to seeing you Friday.
You got it, man. Thanks for having me on, and hope to see everybody out there Friday night. Thanks, Steve.
All right. Absolutely. Tyler Siri joining us on the RaceChaserOnline.com hotline, talking Outlaw Speedway. We'll get my reactions, Clint's reactions on the other side of the break here. You're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN, the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Max Dairy Bar is a proud supporter of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Opened in 1974, Max Dairy Bar has been a Penn Cayuga Lake, and Yates County staple, serving the best Hershey's hard ice cream. They also have soft serve ice cream, their weekly yogurt special, sorbet flavors, gluten-free options, frozen Greek yogurt, and non-dairy lemon ice. Don't forget about their tricky 18-hole putt-putt course that will test your skill to see if you have what it takes to be a champion. Max Dairy Bar and Mini Golf, located on State Route 14A, just south of the village of Penn Yan, right on the way to Black Rock Speedway on Friday nights. Visit them online at www.maxdairybar.com or Max Dairy Bar on Facebook and Twitter. Stop by Max Dairy Bar and tell them Turn 5 Live sent you.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
Hi, race fans. This is Nick Cooper, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Steve Ovens, Clint Miller joining you tonight on the show, and talking to Tyler Siri there a moment ago. Before we get into our reactions here, Clint, a couple of notes I want to make mention of. Just got a note from Steve Kellogg, the head flagger at Outlaw Speedway. I'll tell you, you want to know the enormity of what they're doing at Outlaw Speedway. Lynn and Cindy Huff will be honored guests on Friday night at Outlaw Speedway. I know that when they see everything that's happened, Lynn and Cindy are going to be proud of what Tyler's done. You know, this is really the next step from where they brought the Speedway to for the years that they owned it. I can tell you that. So great to see that they'll be out at the Speedway on Friday. Another note as well concerning Outlaw, go over to their Facebook page, facebook.com/Outlaw Speedway LLC. They're still searching for the correct answer to their trivia question, and this is worth a free pair of passes for Friday night's action. And that question is, actually, it just got answered. It's funny I said that, Clint. It just got answered. So the question was, there are two drivers who have 3 runner-up points finishes in a row in their ESS career. Can you name them and tell us what makes this driver pairing unique? And the answer just submitted was correct, and it is Jeff and Mike Van Dusen. Both of those drivers finished second in points 3 years in a row at different time periods on the in the history of the ESS. So obviously what makes them unique, they're father and son. So I think they're probably the only father and son that can say they've finished runner-up. I know a lot of people, Clint, put in here Lance Young, and although Lance did finish second several times in his career, probably more times than he'd like us to mention, before finally winning his own championships, Lance never finished second in points 3 years in a row. So, interesting note there. He was 2 years in a row several times, but never 3 years in a row. So, there you go. The passes, looks like those are going to be claimed, so that was some good fun there. Clint, your reaction to Tyler, and everything that he's looking forward to this weekend, it really runs along the same theme we've been talking about tonight.
Oh, absolutely. I drive by there every day coming home from work, and the more I drive by, the whiter the place gets. They're painting the place looks great. And from practice Friday, the track was smooth. It had a ton of bite in it. I was talking to Carl about it last night, and he's real excited. He got to hot lap one of his friend's cars Friday night, so he did at least get some track time. And man, it's just, I can't wait. The concession stands, they've taken time to rebuild, and I'm super stoked.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's going to be a lot of fun to see everything that comes with opening night. It's just a whole new era. We've said it, and we'll probably say it's a little more. It's just an incredible time to be a part of the Speedway. Hope to see everybody out there on Friday night. Clint, this is one of our favorite times of the years. We got results to talk about.
Results?
How about it, man? We got results to talk about. We're talking about results, man. Woodhall Raceway, we'll start there from Saturday night. We've got results that we'll go over from Woodhall. 5 Mile Point was racing this weekend. Canandaigua we'll get into after we talk to Tim Guild tonight. But let's start with Woodhall. We'll be talking to him here in the next segment. Tim Guild picked up his first career Woodhull Raceway win on Saturday night. Had to hold off Brandon Butler to do so. And as the press release says, Clint, Guild got out front and was just putting a Saturday night short track whooping on the field. Nobody could touch him. And then with 5 to go, around that time, Butler started to reel him in a little closer until finally with about 3 to go, but Butler was on his back bumper and was diving down low in 3 and 4, looking for any opening. And I'll tell you, when they came down to the white flag, Guild almost slipped too high in turn 4. He almost opened the door, but had the horsepower down the straightaway to keep Butler behind him. He would go on to win. Butler would have to settle for second. Chris Doherty had an eventful night. He was back and forth from the back and the front of the field almost twice Saturday night. He came home third. Billy Van Pelt, driving for Ray Smith, was fourth. He had an eventful night as well. Zach Sutton, here's a guy right here that had a great night on Saturday night. That car was hooked up. They were fast. To me, not being a Woodhull regular, so to speak, the last couple of years, I was very pleasantly surprised to see how fast Zach Sutton was on Saturday night. Bobby Peoples, Josh Sawyer, Brett Buno, David Mayo, Zach Carey completed the top 10 there. That event also had a car get upside down. Josh Kesey upside down on the front stretch. He was obviously not very happy about that situation. You never want to have that happen, especially on opening night. First time they had that car out, to my knowledge. So a tough way to start things there.
Yep.
They got the car
new.
back. Yeah, brand new piece. They got the car down on all 4 wheels, and then as we know, Clint, these cars get upside down, and as soon as you turn them back over onto all 4s, the fire lit up a little bit. He had to get out of the car, but everybody was okay. They got the fire out as quick as they could, and hopefully the frame was not too terribly bent up on that, and they can get back out on the track. Heat winners were David Mayo, Brandon Butler, Chris Doherty, and Colin Brown. The last chance qualifier went to Tracy Stanford. Joe Wilcox Performance Automatic Street Stocks, they had a 20-lap feature. Dylan Cece spun out on lap 1, coming out of turn 4 as they were coming down to complete lap number 2, and driver just flat lost it. Cece went around. He would have to go to the back of the field, and he would come all the way back to pass Brett Marlatt with 4 laps to go. Cece would not be denied on Saturday night, got his first win of the year, defending track champion of the division. He got the win over Marlatt. Tracy Dunn, I'll tell you what, Tracy Dunn had a car to beat on Saturday night. And had Cece not spun out and had a little, let's say, motivation to come back through the field, I think that race might have been Tracy Dunn's to win. But once Cece had some motivation to get up on the wheel, I'll tell you, he was going to be tough to beat. Teddy Morseman, Brandon Morseman, your top 5. Those guys, along with Jared Hill and Gene Balmer, 6th and 7th, that was probably the best racing of the night back in the pack with those guys. Jared Dennis, Kane Stebbins, Rod Mullen rounded out the top 10. Morseman, Balmer, and Reitner picked up heat wins. SWL awards, 360 late models. 20 laps the distance here. Another good story here, Clint. Jason McGregor fell back, led early, fell back as far as 5th, and charged back through the field, passed Glenn Reitner like he was screwed to the ground, and just went on to win by almost a whole straightaway. McGregor got the win. Reitner was second. Carl Hughes, a close third. Steve LeBaron and Rick Laux rounded out the top 5. Carl Hughes, Glenn Reitner, your heat race winners. I'll tell you what, Clint, that 67 car was hooked up. I mean, when you go by Glenn Reitner like he's lap traffic, I mean, wow.
Well, not many people go by Glenn Rittenauer, regardless of anything. So that car had to be on rails.
Oh man, it was, and you could tell as soon as McGregor fell back to fifth, you knew he was frustrated. What you didn't know was he going to be able to get his head screwed back on straight and make a charge of it, and he did just that. I know a lot of drivers that, not just in that division, but you know a driver when they get upset, when they get flustered, they make bad decisions, they don't do things that they intend to do, and it generally doesn't work out too well. But hats off to Jason McGregor for putting it back together, coming to the front, taking down a win. That was fun to watch. Doherty Auto Sales mini stocks. I'll keep it simple. The guy Clint Miller talked about last Tuesday night, Ron Daly Jr., just dominated this race. Nobody touched him. He did start on the front row, but even at that, I mean, he was able to keep the entire field at an arm's reach all night long. And I personally don't think he was running that car as hard as it could go. Carl Bourne had a great second-place run. Corky Grant, Brian Sr., came home third. Chris Woodard was fourth, and Rich Sharpstein, who ran into some motor problems late in that race, was the top five. Dave Wedham, John Hand, Mike Navone, Brian Grant Jr., Derek Purier, the top 10. Daly Jr. and Amadon were your heat race winners. Joe Birdsell picked up the Woodhull Auto Supply front-wheel drive feature event, and we found out he's got a new nickname, Clint. They call him Puddin'. So, big, tall Joe Birdsell, Puddin', gets the win there in the front-wheel drives. Kurt Babcock, Nate Freeland, Dave Richmond, and Adam Del Grosso rounded out the top five. Birdsell and Sean Gleason were your heat race winners. And then in the Doherty Auto Sales Warriors, we kind of called this last week, guys. A.J. Petrowski Jr. picking up the big victory, led all 10 laps, fended off challenges from Trevor Hamilton and Cole Yaus, and the Madman Jr. takes home his first Woodhull win in front of what was an outstanding crowd for opening night, Clint. I was thrilled to see that kind of turnout for Ted and Brandy White. What a way to start the season. And I'll tell you what, man, I'm jacked up for the rest of the year. We've got a $1,000 crate sportsman special on Saturday night, $11 admission. Come out and race in the boonies. It's always a good time. So that's the action from the Woodhull Raceway. Clint, we got to step aside here. When we come back on the other side, we're going to talk to Tim Guild, who picked up the big win on Saturday night at Woodhull, his first career win on the high banks. You're listening to Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
So when you get to the corner of Smith and Orchard, you're going to want to take a left.
You are not going to
then
believe
what you're
this.
going to do is turn
Marcy
onto Marcy
and Brad just
Avenue
broke up,
and go past
and apparently
the first three
she's
lights,
happy
and
about
then take
it.
the next left.
I don't really
Then
think
drive
she's
5 more
happy,
blocks,
but
and you should be
who am
there.
I to judge, right?
Park
anyway,
on the right.
That's
I'll
what
see
I
you
heard
later
last
tonight.
night.
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
Hi, race fans. This is the voice, Shane Andrews of the Big Black Modified Super Dirt Car Series, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Commercial break here on Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Steve Ovens, Clint Miller joining you on the program tonight. And we are going back off to the hotline to bring in the big winner from Saturday night at Woodhall Raceway. Tim Guild joins us from Rathbun, New York. Tim, thanks for being on the show with us tonight.
My pleasure. Glad to have the chance.
Absolutely, man. We had to have you on the show to talk about the big win on Saturday. I know how much that win had to mean to you and the team, and I'll tell you, man, Brandon Butler made you work for it.
Yeah, he was really pushing me there at the end. That one lap to go, I hit that couple of bumps that we had down there in 3 and 4, and he really pushed me hard. I didn't really see anybody up until that point, and it's a little harder to run out front than it is behind sometimes. You never know, if your line's good and I searched a little bit, but pretty much held the same line all night, and it worked good.
I think that's exactly the thing that, before you can go and steal one of those wins is, it's so hard to be out front and for, like you said, for most of that event. And you may not have known how far out you were, but you had a good distance there for most of the event. So, yeah, I mean, for Butler to come in there in the last couple of laps, that had to be nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it was, and and then we had some cautions, and in that bad wreck, that nobody likes to see that. That's real, bad luck for anybody. None of the racers like to see that for other racers. We know, we all put a lot of hard work into our cars, and we just want to have fun. And then when something like that happens, it's real rough.
The interesting thing that you said in Victory Lane, Tim, was you were talking a little bit about your chassis, and I'll be honest with you here on tonight's program, until you said 2009 Bowflex on Saturday, I didn't even know what a Bowflex was. So tell us a little bit about that car.
I picked it up over the winter. I got it from Ron Cartwright. He had it in his stored out back in his barn, and I was looking around trying to find a chassis and stuff, and he got a hold of me, and he said it was a good chassis, and he sure wasn't lying. It worked really good. I didn't have to fight it at all, and did what I wanted, and I did some other things this winter. Changed over to Fox shocks, and tried a few different things. We were 3 times last year we were real close. Got second, 3 different times, and had a lot of top 5s, but just needed a little something more. And it's the same motor, but that car, it just, like I said, it drove really good, and I was real happy with it.
Now, is this car, the new chassis, is this going to make you have to learn a whole new notebook, or are there things that you've been able to carry over from what you had before?
I think it's going to carry over a lot. I went with a setup that we were running on the other car. The other car was an 09 Teal, but it was a regular chassis, not the Bowflex. So, it's just a little bit of difference. So I'm not going to change a whole lot of things. I'm going to try to, stay with the setups that were working last year. And then go from there and just adjust each night. And we had at the end of the year, I had it pretty good at Black Rock, or Outlaw now, I'm sorry. And we're going to try that Friday night and just keep going there, you know. The Woodhall last year, you know, same way this year, the track was actually better, I think, in the feature than it was the heat. And that's the way it was all last year. They're doing a really good job on the surface and keeping the track real racy.
Yeah. I want to ask this too because, you know, I think over the last couple of seasons, I've said this a few times since Saturday. Tim, you've been a driver that has just been picking up a little bit at a time, and had a nice. You've improved each season you've been out here. What does a win like this do for your confidence behind the wheel?
I think it's a ton of confidence. You know, and a lot of racing is confidence and trusting, you know, what you're doing and trusting the car. It's like when we started that feature, you know, I started on the outside there, and I just drove it into 1 and 2 just as hard as I could because I knew it was important to get out front because I knew it was going to be hard to pass all night. And, you know, and then just getting out there, you know, and hitting your lines and being able to concentrate and just not worrying about what anybody else is doing. You just worry about yourself. And, you know, and I've had some good, you know, really good coaches. You know, my dad raced for a long, long time. Stacy and Mike, they've raced for, you know, 30-plus years. They just, you know, and they've helped me out tremendously. You know, and my Uncle Steve, you know, we lost him recently. So Saturday night was tough for all of us, but, you know, I learned a lot from him. He knew so much about race cars and stuff. We all went to him when we needed, you know, advice or, you know, trying to make the cars better. So we got, you know, a lot of adjusting to do this year, just, you know, getting through and, you know, staying together and, you know, getting through the whole thing. It's been a little rough couple weeks.
And let's be honest, Saturday night was a rough night for the boys too. You know, they just had some struggles all night long. It was one thing or another, and a lot of it maybe not even of their own doing. But for them to struggle Saturday night, and then you to have the run you did and win your first race at Woodhall, that had to put a real positive note on a night that otherwise you know, didn't have a lot to write home about.
Yeah, it sure did. You know, before we went out for the feature, me and Mike were talking. He goes, you know, one of us got to win this feature, and you have a lot better shot at it than me because you're starting up front. So, you know, it's, you know, we definitely root for each other, and you know, I know that they're going to always race hard. They're two of the best drivers, you know, around, and so there's a lot of good drivers in the sportsman class, you know, and it's a good class to learn in. You know, I raced the modified for quite a few years until some of the rule changes and stuff kind of made more sense to get a sportsman motor and go that way. And I think it paid a lot for me, you know, just being, you know, a lot more competition and just being, you know, racing everybody, you know, every weekend. It's like last year gave me a lot of confidence because we had a lot of top 5 finishes and we ran, you know, and it was consistent. And, you know, and then we went, you know, I went and raced a lot of different places last year with the grit races. I started 2 last year. So it helps to just get into other tracks and not just one track, you know, and it just helps you get to be a better driver.
And, you know, when we have folks on the show, Tim, we talk to them. We always try and learn something interesting about each driver, you know, maybe not even racing related. And something that I learned about you Saturday night was, you know, before getting heavy into the race cars and things, you spent a lot of time serving our country.
Yep. I retired from the Army after 22 years back in 2006. You know, I was in the maintenance field. Got to travel around the world and, you know, lucky and met a lot of good people, learned a lot, and, you know, it was really, really a good experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything. Just a lot of good memories. Some rough ones, but for the most part, you just try to remember the good ones. Time kind of takes care of that. But yeah, it was something to, but even then, when I started getting towards the end of my, towards retirement, and I always wanted to come back here and get a race car and do some racing. I grew up here in this area, in Woodhall, and we were at the track every Saturday night. So, being in Victory Lane on Saturday night, was something that I always wanted to do. I always dreamed about and always, was hoping I would come that way. A couple of times last year, I was pretty disappointed, but it's something you have to work hard for. Makes you appreciate it more.
Oh, yeah.
And, hopefully there will be more to come.
Absolutely, man. I know you don't do it alone. I know you've mentioned some of them already, but talk to us about the folks that help make it happen for you on the 06 car.
Well, my wife, she's definitely the first one. She puts up with, a lot of, me gone and spending nights out in the shop working on the car, and and like I said, and Stacy and Mike, big help. Dad, he does what he can. He's had a rough couple years. Hopefully we can get him up and moving again this summer so we can get him in the pits. And, Jerry Aldridge Jr., Pig, he's helped out some. We're trying to get him going and just have fun. That's all we want to do is just have fun and race. So.
I can tell you after talking to Carl for a few minutes on my way back up the stairs Saturday night, there wasn't anybody happier in that grandstand than your dad, Carl. That had to be a special moment for you guys, and so glad to see that kind of story there Saturday night. Yeah, I definitely know he was rooting hard, and how happy he is with it. Because, like I said, he was. We started right in after I got out of the Army, and he owned the car for a few years and was, doing everything. And then, some health issues come up and everything, so he hasn't been able to be quite as involved in it. But, he loves going to the racetrack and watching the racing, and, but he's a, big fan. And like I said, hopefully we can get him back up there in the pits and working on the car again. So. Well, I'll tell you what, Tim. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I also, I got to mention my mother, too. She's, every weekend at the races. She travels with us to the grit races, and that's a big thing, just to have people there to support you and help you and do whatever they can. Absolutely, man. Well, I'll tell you what, Tim, that was a hell of a story on Saturday night. And I'll tell you what, man, what a tune-up for this Saturday night. $1,000 to win on the high banks. So good luck to you guys on that. We'll see you there on Friday and Saturday. Yep, I appreciate it. All right. Tim Gill joining us on the program. And race fans, I'll tell you what, to be there on Saturday night, and to be down on the track in Victory Lane and see all of that emotion from the family. And, we talked about them just a couple of weeks ago, with the loss of Steve Jackson. That was such a blow to that family. And I'll tell you what, opening night, I know if neither Stacy or Mike could have taken home the win Saturday night, there's nobody else they'd rather seen than Tim to get that victory, and that's exactly what he did. So congratulations goes out to that crew. We'll come back on the other side. We've got Canandaigua results to talk about. Then we're going to talk to Ricky Newton coming up here at 8:45, right here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ball in street? Girl in street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, recording artists against drunk driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more, but the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives and so should you.
Motorsports sales professionals. Performance Motorsports is looking to build a team of experienced media sales professionals to represent our programming to the industry's top companies, magazines, and racing series. If you have motorsports sales or marketing experience, know how to work with agencies, understand social media, and are incredibly creative when it comes to working with clients and promotions, then we want to hear from you. Top performers are richly rewarded. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444, or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Hi, race fans. This is Brett Deo, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stephen Ovens, Clint Miller joining me on the program tonight. And Clint, you got to hear Tim Guild and that great story from this weekend. And, man, I'll tell you what, that was just flat cool. You know, I know, like we said before we went to break there, you know, if one of the Jackson boys couldn't do it, for their dad, Steve, on Saturday night. It's still a great story that Tim, being part of the family, too, that, you know, he could get that win. And for him, you know, first career win, you know, getting into racing and really succeeding after, you know, learning a little bit here and there for the past, what is now almost 10 years now. Boy, what a story that is.
That was something that I was hoping would happen. You know, I obviously you want to pull for, you know, the Jacksons with everything they've been through within the last couple of weeks. But yeah, if anybody can do it, at least it was a family member, and I'm sure it was a real emotional victory lane, and I bet everybody was just happy, and they were partying in Woodhall Saturday night. No doubt about that.
So let's talk a little bit about this past weekend at Canandaigua Motorsports Park. I know you were there Saturday, Clint, but let's start with results from Friday night, and then we'll get into your reactions from Saturday night. Opening day, Friday night there, you know, obviously the story there with the 305 sprints, that feature canceled after the first 2 laps after that accident there. The sportsman feature, 25 laps the distance, the first point show at Canandaigua for the year. And Ricky Newton, he'll be joining us in the next segment, picked up the win. He got the win over Dave Marchicelli, Carl Comfort, James Sweeting, and Ron RD3 Ronnie Davis III, your top 5. 6 through 10, Rocky Warner, Rob Bussey, Todd Root, Kevin Root, and Adam Hilton. Heat wins going to Carl Comfort, Rocky Warner, Tyler Meeks, Dave Schilling, and then the Consi went to Dave Rogers. So that was the sportsman action from Friday night. The modifieds, they did 2 practice sessions. One, the fastest driver there would get the 6th spot in Saturday night's feature, and the fastest in practice 1 was Billy Dunn. He would take the 6th spot. He had a lap of 18.283, averaging 98.542 miles an hour around the half mile there at Canandaigua. Practice 2, the fastest lap would take the 4th starting spot, and that went to Justin Hares with a lap of 18.397, 97.842 miles per hour around Canandaigua Motorsports Park. So now let's go into Saturday night. And before we do the results here, Clint, your reaction from Saturday night at Canandaigua. Looked like it was a great, great show.
It was a phenomenal show. And I'll tell you what I really like, Steven. I like to see, I mean, obviously with the grit show, you're gonna have a ton of cars there, but the modifieds had a consi, and it's really good to see enough cars turn out where you have to have a consi, and obviously it sucks that people have to go home and whatever, but it just makes the racing better when you have to race your way into the show. The track was a bottom feeder track, which not really surprised being early in the season. You pack it tight so you don't want it rough, and but it was definitely there was room on top. In 3 and 4 like there normally is, but guys way up on the tip top. I'm trying right off the top of my head. Tim Fuller was running out there. He did everything he could to get around Matt Shepard, and we'll get into the results, of course. But Tim Fuller was only about maybe 5 or 6 car lengths behind Matt at the finish, but Matt just didn't make a mistake. It was just they were both fast, and Matt just didn't make a mistake. But the grit series, the grit race was fantastic. 3 or 4 lead changes. It was just a great night. The stands were packed, and it was racing.
That's good to hear. We'll go over the results here from Canandaigua on day number 2 of their opening weekend. The Crate Late models were in attendance. Heat race wins there went, or it looks like maybe there. Nope, looks like there was. Actually, sorry, folks, a little confusing here trying to read the heat race results. Looks like Bryce Davis was the winner of the heat race there. And then the 30-lap feature was also Bryce Davis leading wire to wire.
He whacked him.
Yeah, that's what it says here, too. And Clint, they had a good way to start the season there for Bryce Davis.
Yeah, well, he came down to Outlaw on Friday night and just wanted to break his new mount in. It's a new chassis this year. But yeah, he could go anywhere on the track, and he was it just stuck. Brady Wonderling was running second for a long time, running right on the ragged outside edge, and it bit him coming out of 2. He got into the wall and kind of did a Joey Chitwood going down part of the backstretch. I could read his number on the top of the car. Yeah, he rode the wall probably a third of the way down the backstretch, and then he pulled in the pits when it was all said and done there going into 3, and it was good. It was they put on a good show, green to checkered. 11 cars, and I don't see any reason for it to be any less than that.
Davis got the win. Jeremy Wonderling was second. Chris Fleming third. Chad Homan fourth. Mike Wonderling Jr. the top 5. New Legend Sportsman Jackson Gill got the win over Hunter Schwander, Ben Carlson, and Tyler Thompson. Street Stocks and Pure Stocks, heat win went to Mr. Smooth, Mark Minutlo, and he picked up the win in the feature as well, the 15-lapper there. So great run right out of the gate for Mark Manutlo. And in the, let's see, looks like they've got Street Stocks and Pure Stocks running together there. Then the Grit Sportsman, Cabin Fever 2. Heat wins went to Trump, Root, Comfort, Matt Guerry, and Rob Bussey. Consi #1 winner was Rocky Warner. Say what? Wow.
Yeah, he only got up to 6. They were taking 4, I think, out of the heats, and he was only able to get up to 6th place. Yeah,
Nick
it was tough.
Yeah, I guess so. Nick Krause got the other Consi. And then in the 40-lap feature, Adam Pearson, we talked about him earlier, coming down from Vermont, picked up the win. Dave Marcaccelli, 2nd place for the second night in a row. Rob Bussey was 4th. RD3 with 2 top 5 efforts at Canandaigua this weekend. Rocky Warner, the top 5. Then it was Todd Root, Kyle Inman, Kevin Root, Gibbs, Matt Guerry, and Carl Comfort, the top 10 there in the Cabin Fever 2 event. Great showing there for the Grit Sportsman. Clint, looking forward to seeing the Grit cars at Outlaw on Friday night. They always put on a great show there.
Oh man, I can't wait. And you know, like you said, it's the Hoosier, you know, the starting of the Hoosier and American Racer Combined Cup's going to be there. So, you know, guys are going to be able to come down without having to go out and buy new tires and such. So it ought to be a really decent show. They ought to have quite a turnout.
Absolutely. Moving on to the modified division, heat wins went to Matt Shepard, Billy Decker, Billy Dunn, Tim Fuller. The Consi went to Gary Tompkins. And in the 50-lap feature, it was Matt Shepard. And Clint, I'm going to ask you about this in a second because the press release here says that he narrowly held on over Tim Fuller. We'll get your comment on that in a second. Fuller was 2nd, Billy Dunn 3rd, Justin Hare's 4th, Peter Britton in the HBR car, the top 5. 6 through 10 was Jimmy Phelps, Matt Williamson, Billy Decker, Robbie Bellinger, and D-Pods, Derek Pozziadlo, the top 10. So, Clint, was it narrowly over Tim Fuller? Was it really that close?
It was probably 5 or 6 car lengths, Steve. It wasn't a runaway by any means, and it wasn't on his bumper either. It was one of those where, you know, they had a caution with 8 to go, and I think Fuller made up his mind that he was gonna do everything he could, you know, to get around him, and he could stay with him. He wasn't faster than Matt was. But, you know, he was there. If Matt made a mistake, he was going to go by him. It was, you know, he was that close. But Matt just didn't make a mistake. He's so good, so smooth.
Oh, absolutely. So let me ask you this. I think this would be an interesting answer. Based on what you saw Saturday night, and I ask you this because out of the 3 of us on the show here, I know that you have an opportunity to take in a few more shows at Canandaigua than we do. Is Matt at any level lower now racing with his own team from what we've seen the past couple of years when he was driving for HBR? Because when he comes out and wins opening night, my answer to that would be, well, duh, no.
No, absolutely not. And not only does he win opening night at Canandaigua, I think he said this is his 3rd win in 7 days. So, you know, rather it just be at Canandaigua or overall, no, definitely not. He's, you know, I think he started in the top 5 anyway. I think he started in the 2nd row. But, you know, he didn't take the lead till lap 23, and but he was there all night. There's no drop off in what he's got.
Yeah. I think that they're going to be so tough to beat. You know, I don't care that they've started their own team, that they, you know, that they may not have all the resources in the world. But, I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, they don't have the resources that he had at HBR. But he's got Bicknell Racing Products. He's got whoever he runs for Shocks. I think he runs Fox Shocks. I'm not positive.
Integra,
Integra, okay.
I believe, yeah.
But these are all it's Matt Shepard. He's got super backing by three of the main things that get you around a racetrack, and then when you add his talent on top of it all, I don't really see where the fall off is going to be.
Oh yeah, yep. Coming up this week at Canandaigua, we've got to step aside here, but before we do, full regular show at Canandaigua, big block modifieds, crate late models, Sportsman 305 sprints, pure stocks, open street stocks. Racing starts at 7. The gates open at 5 o'clock. And a change for the future for the 305 sprints, features only. And but you heard Clint's reaction. Features only, and we'll discuss this later on in the program because I think this is something that we got to chew on. So we'll do that. But first, we're going to talk to Ricky Newton coming up next here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of news, results from motorsports.
For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading materials supplier to the racing industry. Now they're also an official motorsports content partner of Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for all their raw materials, such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much, much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit Stock Car Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing and industry. SRI is your number one source for all your shop supply needs. Nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the road to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit stockcarsteel.com and SRI-supplies.com. You can also find them on Facebook at Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, or call either company toll-free at 1-888-752-7272.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Hi, race fans. This is Mills Family Racing, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Welcome back, race fans. Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stephen Ovens, Clint Miller joining you on the program tonight, and talking dirt track racing of all different sorts here on the show tonight. And we're going to be talking to Ricky Newton here in just a moment. We talked a little bit about results from the Woodhall Raceway from Saturday night. We talked about Canandaigua results from Friday and Saturday. Of course, the Short Track Super Series had their event at Bridgeport on Sunday with the Flying Farmer, Wade Hendrickson, picking up the big win in his small block Ford down at Bridgeport. So
I love
it. Don't you love that?
I do love it.
I love it just for the nickname.
Well, you think about it, and it's kind of funny. The Flying Farmer running a Ford. Now, back in the day, and Brad would love this, in the
Back in 2002?
No, even farther back than that. I'm talking.
Uh-oh.
I'm talking mid-late 80s, early 90s. Mark Osterhout ran a small block at Black Rock Speedway. Was also a farmer. Ran a Ford.
Ah, very good. Very good.
A little stupid tidbit of information, but there you go.
No, man, I like it. I like it a lot. We're working on getting Ricky on the phone to talk to him about his win Friday at Canandaigua, but we were touching on something real quick, Clint, about the 305's features only. Thoughts there?
Well, I think it's a knee-jerk reaction. They said that they're not bringing the cars in. I can remember last year, the 305 car count was pretty good. It was, I almost think that there was plenty of nights where there was 16, 17, 18 cars, and that's more than what the late models brought in, and the pure streets brought in. Those cars, the 305s, put on a good show. It was the first night of the year. There's so many teams that seem to never have their stuff done for whatever reason, because when the opening date is. But there just seems to be so many teams that aren't prepared for week one. So I just think it's a knee-jerk reaction from having another bad sprint car crash. And, I don't like it. I think it's a terrible idea.
Well, we're going to talk to a driver that was out there this weekend picking up a win on Friday night with the first sportsman show of the season at Canandaigua Motorsports Park. Ricky Newton joins us on the RaceChaserOnline.com hotline. And Ricky, first off, man, congratulations. Boy, I know how big that win must have been for your team there on Friday night.
Yeah, it was real big for us. We waited a couple of years there to finally get another win at Canandaigua. And we can't say enough about the new car that we put together over the winter.
So do we attribute the win Friday to getting into a new car? Is it, was that the key to breaking into victory lane, or were there some other parts to that as well?
I don't know if that was the whole key. I mean, we just worked really hard all winter long at putting it together. It definitely says something when everything is fresh. It's a lot nicer. I think everything works a little bit better because, we all know stuff gets fatigued over time and things like that. And it was just quite an unbelievable difference.
And I'll tell you what, man, to get a win at Canandaigua, knowing that there was going to be so many guys there preparing for cabin fever the next night, it's not like you just went and won on a regular Saturday night show. This was a show with some of the best. Hell, Marchicelli runs second to you. So, that's quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, we're definitely happy with the result Friday night. And I felt like we were probably just as good Saturday night. Just had a little mishap on my end and ended our night prematurely there.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that, Ricky, because I didn't make it Friday night. I knew you won, and I knew that you've been a competitor there the last few years. But tell us about Saturday night. I think you were battling in the top 5, if I remember correctly. How did you think the track was? I saw that you were kind of working middle to outside. Did you think that there was an advantage or disadvantage anywhere on the racetrack?
I don't think there was an advantage or disadvantage. Racing at Canandaigua weekly, we kind of know what to expect. And that, to me, it didn't really seem like any different type of racetrack than Canandaigua normally is on, let's say, a hot August summer night. You know what I mean? The cushion's always pushed way up top, and it was so fine of a line between being on the cushion and being against the barrier in turn 2 that if you jump the cushion a little bit, there was just no room for any corrective action. By the time the tire jumped over the barrier, it was already into the wall.
Got you.
So that certainly adds a level of difficulty, knowing how fine that line really is.
Yeah, I mean, Canandaigua is tough to get around when it's slippery anyhow. It's almost compared to, I would compare it to the old Weedsport days, back when Weedsport used to get really black.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's about equivalent to that.
That has got to be so tricky to try and set up for. Was that something that you guys struggled with for a while, trying to get a handle on that? I mean, how long did it take for you guys to be able to be confident in setting up for those conditions?
I would say towards the end of last year, we'd worked with Mike Payne quite a bit on the shocks, and he finally got me to where I had something underneath me that I was comfortable with, and we would just have to fine tweak it a little bit for this year, and it proved to be, I thought it was quite well.
For somebody like myself that maybe isn't quite mechanically inclined, I'm interested in your perspective here, Ricky. I mean, everybody thinks that, well, I won't say everybody thinks, but, when you think of what it takes to have a winning car on the track, I feel like for some fans, they immediately go to, well, it's all in the engine, it's all in the chassis. But I'll tell you what, shocks are such a huge part of this game these days.
Yeah, I mean, shocks, I would have to say, besides having all the best of the best equipment that you can get to put on these cars now, shocks are the next biggest thing. Like in our class, the crate motor is a crate motor. Everybody's, got pretty much the same thing, especially at Canandaigua because they police it so well. Everybody has the same thing there for engine, and it just makes guys work that much harder to find, what they need to get the most amount of that power they can to hook up to the racetrack.
And being that shocks are so important these days, Ricky, as a competitor who's raced in this division for the last several years, I mean, do you see that as a good thing, a bad thing, or is that's just part of the deal? We know it when we get into it, and it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the shocks come a long ways. I mean, I started running the sportsman cars when I was 15 years old, and then you could win a race on just the standard Bilstein shock setup that Bicknell recommended. And, I mean, they were 4 steel, sealed-bodied shocks, and you were able to get by with that and be fine with it and competitive. And now I think it's just got to the point where if you don't have, 8, 10, 12 shocks in the trailer to be able to fine-tune to what you need, you are at a little bit of a disadvantage, I feel.
And as far as, for what those run these days, I mean, for a good competitive, maybe not top of the line, but for a competitive set of shocks, I mean, what are teams looking at for a set of 4 of those these days?
You can buy used ones and have them revalved, but you're still probably for a brand new set, you're probably going to be around $700 to $900 for a new set, all ready to go. I mean, there's guys that revalve the Bilsteins, and I mean, you can get in low line, probably the $200 to $300 range.
Gotcha. The win Friday night, Ricky, I mean, how's that set you guys up for your season, and what are your guys' plans this year?
Well, I mean, it definitely came a lot sooner than what we expected. I expected that was the first laps turned on the car at all this season, so I expected the new car bugs that we'd have to work out, and I guess that we didn't have any of those, so that says just how much time we put in on it all winter long to make sure we didn't get those. And as far as our plans this year, we're probably going to run Canandaigua regularly, the specials at Weed Sport and Rolling Wheels, and maybe a hit or miss some of the grit shows. It all really depends on our work schedule.
Gotcha. Talk to us about some of the folks that help you out and helped you get that win on Friday night.
Oh, I've got to thank my mom, my wife, my 2 kids, Lucas and Owen. A guy by the name of Spider, he's helped he's helped our family since I was a little kid. He's helped us all along the way. Sponsors John and Shannon Ellsworth from Harvest Motorsport. Randy Williamson up to Bicknell Racing Products. Odds Collision, he's helped us out since I've started racing. Ronnie Tolster, he's another guy that puts a ton of money into my race cars. Ken and Shirley Premp, they're also family friends that put a ton of money in. And then over the winter, I also started up our own fabrication business for race car bodies, and that's what Fab Shop 54 is.
Very good, man. Well, congratulations on the win, and boy, if you guys can keep rolling, that'll be the first of hopefully many this season.
Yeah, that would be nice. We'll find out what Saturday brings.
All right, man. Good luck to you, and thanks again for your time here on Turn 5.
Thank you.
All right, Ricky Newton joining us on the program here tonight. Clint, we're going to talk a little bit. We want to expand a little bit on that shock conversation. So get your shocks tuned up, get them revalved, get them ready to go. We'll talk about it next here on Turn 5 Live, here on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of shocks and motorsports.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What?
No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up.
See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time.
What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
If you're a gearhead and you just can't get enough of your favorite motorsports on that channel on the cable, or you look at that Guy network and you just go, what does that have to do with me? We have the answer. Performance Motorsports Network. Right here on the internet. The best cruising tunes, the best in motorsports programming, and the best shows. We have opinionated hosts, and we like it that way. If you want to get involved, if you want to bench race, be listening for information coming up soon right here on this channel, the Performance Motorsports Network, your source for motorsports.
Hi race fans, this is Mel Thomas from Thomas Video, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Oh, Melba, bringing us back from commercial break. I'll tell you what, Saturday night at Woodhall, and yes, I'll make a connection to Mel here in a second. Saturday night at Woodhall, first opportunity to be the announcer up there in the booth. Totally overwhelmed with first night, jitters and making sure I'm getting names right and just learning the flow because, every dirt track is different. It doesn't matter if it's 30 miles away or if it's across the country. Every dirt track is different. The way folks run their shows is different. So just trying to learn all that last Saturday, a guy who is a veteran of Woodhull Raceway, Jerry Simons, we had him on the show here a month or so ago, stood up next to me and was on the mic right along with me all night long. And I'll tell you, Clint, it felt just like being at Outlaw, sitting next to Mel Thomas, two guys that know more than probably anybody else history-wise about both of those places. And for a new guy like myself to this game in the last year or two, I just feel so lucky to have both of those guys at the two places that I announce at. Just to have that veteran presence and the knowledge, I mean, you can't put a price on that.
No, that's what I was going to say is, it's got to make it that much easier on you knowing that you have somebody there that you can kind of lean on a little bit because of their time and experience at the speedways. And, when we had Jerry on, the information just that he gave us on the podcast here was insurmountable. That's what, as a race car historian and somebody that loves a good story like I do, like you do about, days of old, it's just awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Ricky Newton brought up an interesting topic in his conversation with us about, the shocks and the prices and how that has really become the name of the game for crate sportsman modified drivers. Clint, I know you've got an opinion or you've got a thought you'd like to share, so have at it, man.
Well, it's a couple things really. I mean, when the sportsman class started years ago, it was you couldn't have a chassis that was within 3 years old, or 3 years old of the current year. It was the crates and where did it turn to, getting a shock package $700 to $900, on a class that's supposed to be, I won't say it's a beginner, but that's how far that the crate sportsman series has come along. And look what they, look what they do. They bring 45 cars to a racetrack. I mean, this is serious business for these guys. And my comment was, and I kind of got a little bit off topic there, but not really, is there's a $100 shock rule for like our street stock class, and I'm sure it gets stretched. I was talking to Tim Sebring, and to buy a say like you're going to buy a Pro Shock, an individual Pro Shock is $80. The price keeps creeping up year after year. And you can't have those rebuilt. Now, so you go to what we'll call it a QA1 shock, and it's just a brand. But you can have, they're $110, $115 a piece. But you can have those rebuilt for $25, $30. So I don't, I understand they want to keep the price down, but in the long run, if somebody goes out and buys the $120 shock, in the long run, you're going to be better off because you can get them rebuilt the following year, and you're only paying half the price or a third of the price of what a new one is. And when you have them revalved, you can do it differently. Like, say you have a shock it's 5 compression and 3 rebound, which it goes down harder, comes up easier. Say you use that shock this year and don't like it, you can have that, take that to Timmy Sebring right up here on Old Bath Road and say, this year I want you to rebuild this shock for me, but I want you to make it so it's a 7 down, so it's really hard to go down, and I want it 2 up. I want it to come off that shock real easy. So in the long run, it's cheaper to go that route, but we can't, and it gives you so many more options. So it's just the shot game is so finicky nowadays. It's crazy.
Clint Miller, you've got homework on Friday night.
All right.
And I know that you'll be working on a race car as it is, but you've got homework on Friday night. You need to go over and see Tim Sebring and say, you know what, sir, you've got a lot of knowledge in this sport, and we want to hear about it on Turn 5.
I can do that.
I'd like to hear Tim Sebring next Tuesday night on Turn 5 Live.
I'll tell you, I took a transmission over to Tim to have it rebuilt, and I took it over to drop it off. It was the weekend that I was leaving for Bud Bowl. It was that Friday, and it was 9 o'clock in the morning. I went up there. I was going to go to breakfast. I dropped the transmission off, and somehow, some way, with all his vast knowledge of what was going on and the transmission workings and this and that, I was up there for 3 hours. I watched him tear apart the whole transmission. I could almost, I'm 60% certain I could probably rebuild it if I had to. I would never try it, of course, but I couldn't get away from him, and it's not in a bad way. I loved listening to the stories the man had. The way that he teaches is absolutely fantastic, and that's another thing that we can talk about. You know, and I know Joe Wilcox does a whole bunch of transmissions and this and that, but Timmy's another guy that local guys around here go to because it's not, you know, hour and a half away. It's much more convenient up here, and Tim is such a great guy and been around Dundee Raceway Park, Black Rock Speedway, Yates Speedway, and now he'll be down at Outlaw Speedway. So he's so knowledgeable, and yeah, I'll do what I can to see if I can get him on the show.
I just think that would be not only from the racing history perspective, but I mean, he's another guy too that, you know, it's interesting to me that, you know, for a class like the Crate Sportsman, and again, if you folks listening tonight, you know, have a differing opinion, think something different, I mean, feel free, shoot us an email, turn5podcast@gmail.com, send us a message on the Facebook page, send us a tweet at Turn5Live, Turn5Live on Facebook. I'm curious to know, you know, this Crate Sportsman class, we always talk about the affordability of being able to get into, you know, a dirt modified and know it's not big block or small block budget. But I mean, man, when a set of new shocks are in the range of $1,000, I mean, wow. I mean, that kind of opened my eyes a little bit to that. So, well, you know, for Tim's knowledge and experience, I think that would be an interesting discussion next Tuesday.
I'm all in. I'll try to talk him into it. He's kind of a humble guy, so you know how it is to get some of these guys on the show. They don't like the spotlight, and so. But I'll do what I can.
Oh, that would really be neat. So we'll see if we can't work on that. Clint, we got a few things to wrap up before we get out of here tonight, but we're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll take the white flag. We'll do one more trip around the Fast 4/10 mile here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading materials supplier to the racing industry. Now they're also an official motorsports content partner of Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for all their raw materials, such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much, much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit Stock Car Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing and industry. SRI is your number one source for all your shop supply needs. Nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the road to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit stockcarsteel.com and SRI-supplies.com. You can also find them on Facebook at Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, or call either company toll-free at 1 Online, 888-752-7272.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Hi, race fans. This is Matt Shepard, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Super Matt Shepard bringing us back from commercial break here on Turn 5 Live, and there's a little foreshadowing for you.
Oh, yeah, how fitting is that?
Matt Shepard going to be competing for the Outlaw Spring Nationals coming up on Friday night, and $3,000 to win there for the modifieds, and I'll tell you what, just going to be a kick-butt show, no doubt about it there. So let's... Clint, let's talk quick. We've got 5 Mile Point Speedway results from the weekend. Danny Creedon picks up the big win, narrowly edging out Danny Johnson in the Southern Tier Open down there at 5 Mile Point. John Carpenter picked up the Star Series Street Stocks win. John is just a phenomenal Southern Tier competitor. Always tough to beat no matter where they show up to race, but pretty cool deal for them. And then, as we look over some of the other action, excuse me, I lost my spot here. But 5 Mile Point, after having some weather issues the last couple of weekends, finally was able to get opening night in, and that was good to see for the quarter mile down in Kirkwood, New York, of course, owned and promoted by the Harpel family. Andrew, and then Dan, of course, who we know so well now, running Pencan Speedway as well. And I apologize, having a little issue pulling up the result here. But anyway, Danny Creedon picked up the win in the modifieds, and sounds like that was a great race there between Creedon, Sean Walker, who I believe was the defending champion at 5 Mile, as well as Danny Johnson. So that was a pretty good weekend for those guys out there. And now we've got it to pull up here. And, they had a lot of racing going on this weekend, Clint. Starting off there, we'll start with Sunday's results. The street stock feature, we talked about Jonathan Carpenter got the win. Shane Wolf Jr. second. Stephen Deinhardt, Rich Sharpstein, and Nick Robinson rounding out the top 5. The 4-cylinder Star Series also in competition. Mike Robinson got the win. Frank Kennedy, Adam Gilbert, Ken Underwood, Dennis Kiesler, the top 5. The Tommy Boy 20 factory stock special. Kevin Skelly got the win after the first, the gentleman that Randy Fox that crossed the line first came up underweight at the scales. So unfortunate deal there. Skelly gets the win in the factory stocks. The Tobias Slingshots, Brett Bieber. No, not any relation to the pop music star. Brett Bieber gets the win in the Slingshots. The Open versus Crate Sportsman special, Brian White got the win. $1,200 goes to Brian White there in that one. And then as we look at Saturday's action, and as we mentioned, Danny Creedon picked up the win in the modifieds, $2,000 to win in that one for the Southern Tier Open. Danny Johnson, Sean Walker, Anthony Perego, and Rusty Smith, your top 5. Crate Sportsman, 20-lapper. Kyle Rohner got the win over Tim Howell, Marty Bunker, Mike Shane, and Brad Weaver. The Empire State Series, IMCA Modifieds, kicked off their 2016 season. Matt Cole got the win, two-time 5-mile point champion Matt Cole. He got the win over Drew Peralt, Eddie Seitz, Gary Roberts, and James Cornell. Then in the Lightning Cat novice division, Amanda Brigham picked up the win. We talked a little bit about Marty Kelly III. He was the Vermont driver that picked up the win in the Tobias Slingshots. In the Lightning Cat expert division, it was a family affair as Andy Brigham picked up the win in that one. Jason Thomas picked up the win in the 15-lap factory stocks. So that's the action out at 5 Mile Point Speedway. You can look them up online, 5 Mile Point Speedway. Of course, that's the number 5, milepointspeedway.com. Make it a point to get to the point this summer in 2016. Clint, World of Outlaws Sprint Cars. I was talking to Tom Baker and Jacob Seelman last night on Motorsports Madness, and they asked me, can Casey Kane Racing continue the streak? And I told them yes, and it would be Brad Sweet that would do so. Well, guess what? It was Casey Kane. It was Darren Pittman last night. So KKR taking the last 3. How about it for them?
Wow, that's incredible. But you look at it, and Brad Sweet had a fantastic year this year or last year, but you never really thought that KKR would be quite on this streak because of that Donnie Schatz guy, but Donnie really hasn't been. I won't say he hasn't been a factor, but
it's hard to say he's not a factor with 5 wins, but
right. But on the on the big picture is it seems more times than not, as opposed to the past, he's getting beat out there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he has not been the Donnie that we saw last season by any means, and that was the question they asked me last night was, Brad Sweet's got over 100 points on the point lead, and in all honesty, I haven't seen the updated total since last night's finish, but prior to last night, he had over 100 on Donnie, and then Darren was only 24 points further back than Donnie, and I imagine after Darren winning last night that has changed a little bit. But I mean, gosh, Clint, I mean, I don't mean this in a negative way, but I almost feel like I've kind of been waiting for them to maybe not fall on their face, but at least show that they're human, and they just haven't yet. I mean, they haven't come out and scored top 5s in every race, no, but they are strong. I mean, are they the guys to beat at this point? I mean, can we really just definitively say this is their championship to lose this year?
I don't know.
Are we not there yet?
I don't think we're there quite yet. We're still, we're less than 20 races into a 90-race season. I mean, it's. We're not even a third of the way yet, and and Donnie's still sitting there 100 points out, and it's not even Donnie Schatz time. Like we were kind of surprised at how he took off last year, because in the summer, late summer months when the tracks get slick, that's when Donnie Schatz wins races. he just happened to win races right out of the box last year. Maybe this is going to be the prototypical Donnie Schatz season, where he just kind of hangs around, and then come July, August, they'll really turn it up a notch and win them in bunches.
Another great question they had last night, and I'll pose to you. We saw some drivers, get down and dirty this weekend. We saw a little rivalry pop up between Darren Pittman and Joey Saldana, and then we saw a little rivalry pop up between Shane Stewart and David Gravel. So out of those two pairings there, Clint, is there either of these rivalries that you can see carrying itself out for a little ways here in the season?
I would probably say I would think that the Darren Pittman and Joey Saldana rivalry will probably keep going. They're a couple of the elder statesmen on tour, and not saying elder statesmen because they're old, but they've been around a long time, and they're hungry for that World of Outlaw championship. And with Saldana and the new team this year, he's got something to prove. They didn't have the year last year that they wanted. So I think that could be a mainstay. David Gravel, he just seems like he's too nice of a guy. To hold any grudges or to race that way, I guess is a better put.
David Gravel, I thoroughly enjoyed the interview we did with him early in the off season. But I think there's a guy right there who has got another team who's taken a chance on him that I think he's got a lot to prove, and he's already got a win, which is fantastic. But we know in this sport that it's a "what have you done for me lately" kind of situation, and so for some reason I just he's young, he's trying to prove himself. I don't know. I feel like that Shane Stewart David Gravel rivalry could really carry itself out here going forward, but we'll see.
Let's be all honest here. Who's David Gravel's teamate?
I knew you were going to go there.
Well, hey, I'm sure Sammy can show him just the way to be.
Oh yeah.
Slide jobs on lap one, putting young kids into the fence, stuff like that.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out.
It is. Long season.
Long season, and I'll tell you, Clint, it's been an entertaining one, because for the last couple seasons, it's just been the Donnie show, and boy, the parity this year. Although Casey Kane Racing has been dominant, and they're really on top of their game right now, I still love the fact that we've seen some parity so far, and we're seeing somebody go up and say, you know what, we're going to give Donnie a run for his money. So I love it. I love it.
The only thing that concerned me a little bit, and we're going to see it more and more when they hit the weekly shows, but they only had 18 cars last night. And
we talked about this before.
Yeah, and this concerned me, and I was actually talking to Casey Pavlik, and don't you think, I understand World of Outlaws been around a long time, they've done it their way for so long, but wouldn't it make more sense maybe to have a East, Central, and West, break it down that way?
Nah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, I see where you're going with that, but oh man, I think the moment that you split up the Outlaws that way, I think that's the end of the Outlaws.
But there's only 13 guys that run full time.
I know.
So what are you breaking up? I mean, you can still have an overall. You can still, like the ASCOC does, and some of them other sprint car series do. They have they have this series and that series, but then they have an overall winner too. So you can still have those guys and give them bonus points for hitting every race and do all that stuff. But
yeah,
I just think that it's so watered down.
We might have to bring Jacob on next week to talk about that, but I hate to cut you short here, Clint, but we're a little tight on time here.
Time to go.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah. I want to thank Tim Guild, want to thank Tyler Siri and Ricky Newton for joining us on the program tonight. Be sure to tune in next week. We'll have full coverage from Outlaw Spring Nationals, Woodhall, Canandaigua, you name it, we cover it here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Turn 5 Live is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. PerformanceMotorsportsNetwork.com is a member of the Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-host, and guest, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers, or marketing partners. Thank you for listening to Turn 5 Live. You can listen to Turn 5 Live every Tuesday night right here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stay tuned for more great PMN programming.
Searching for a world so